last week we talked about a petition to save the Acolyte, to bring it back to Disney Plus, which is ineffectual right now.
Yes.
But there is a new petition to completely erase the Acolyte, which has now been canceled, from the canon of Star Wars. With already 15,000 signatures, it says, help decanonize the Acolyte. Like so many fans of Star Wars, I found the show, The Acolyte, absolutely frustrating. For some, it might have been the abysmal writing, the ever-changing character motivations, or the awkward cinematography and strange jump cuts. The show was completely misdirected. For others, could be the multiple ways the show breaks canon, jangles keys and established characters, damaging them in the future, or the way the show makes the prophecy of the Chosen One completely insignificant. Help me show Disney that we want to reset the prequel era back to George's original version that I know so many of us love.
It's never going to happen.
I know it's a change.org petition,
Yes.
so it has an exactly 0% chance
I think
of
it's
changing anything.
I think that creating a change.org petition to like renew it was stupid. I similarly think that creating a change.org petition to decanonize is also stupid. But that's just me.
That's okay. It comes from the right place.
I guess. Like,
I think.
I'm like, look, yeah, the show got canceled. Let's move on.
I mean, no one considered it real Star Wars anyway. Anyone who cared about Star Wars never considered it.
I guess
real
no.
Star
Let
Wars.
me rephrase. Don't move on, because then it gives us stuff to talk about. So yes, continue.
Continue spiraling and making content about this. A couple of YouTubers got a lot of pushback when they were talking about the cancellation of the show. One being Sydney Watson.
Mm-hmm.
She posted a video called "The Age of Insufferable Star Wars Actresses." And one person quote tweeted this saying, "These right-wing grifters don't even know shit about Star Wars and do all this for views. Just a pick-me loser bitch who wants to feed her incel followers."
She also gets called a feminist.
Sydney Watson, yeah, she can't win really. She's somewhere in the middle and she pisses off everybody.
I mean, that's the worst place to be, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that way sometimes. Like, it's like, it doesn't matter what you do, you anger somebody.
But it means that she's staying true to what she believes. And it's not completely off base to say that there are a lot of insufferable actresses attached to the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
It's like you could say the same thing about anything Disney related.
I do wonder how different it even would have been back in the day. Like, if we were to go back in time to the 70s and the 80s and we just dumped Twitter there and gave these
Would
actors...
Carrie Fisher have been going off?
I guess the culture in the world was different at that time. If we were to dump it in the 80s or the 70s and the culture in Hollywood was different, meaning that image was still important and mystique was still important. That was something we talked about on Friday, right? Mm-hmm. There's no mystique around actors anymore. There's no sense of awe or aura around them. Like, maybe at a time when aura was still considered important rather than likability, not even likability, what would you call it? Accessibility.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be different. Maybe the stuff they tweet would be different because the culture was different. But I bet if you did it within a couple of years, we would just recalibrate and end up right back where we are right now.
I mean, even for ordinary people, it's taken this long to have them realize their employers can see their Facebook posts. And celebrities are catching up to that new reality just as slowly as the rest of us.
I don't think they care because first of all, they don't see you or I as their bosses because technically we're not. The studio pays them and they get paid for these TV shows that they do 8 episodes for. And by the time it's done, they've gotten their paycheck. There's no incentive.
So they
for
feel they owe you
something.
nothing.
Exactly.
They owe you no explanation.
This was going
but you
on,
owe them an apology.
This was going on a couple of years ago in comics where like people would go to comic pros and be like, why are you demonizing fans and being weird? And they're like, we don't work for them. Like, our boss is the publisher. And like, we don't sell we don't sell to fans. We sell to shops who sell to fans, as if that somehow makes it better.
Right. We have a middleman. So your opinion of what I make doesn't matter.
Correct.
Which says nothing about whether people actually do end up buying those comics,
exactly.
by the way. That just means distributors are
I
buying them.
that just means you don't care about the distributors either. That just means that you're giving a fuck you to the people who are taking the risk to buy your books in bulk and then try and sell them.
Right.
So to these actors who are like, well, what do I care what the fans think? I got paid for my shitty 8 episodes on this Netflix series that no one's gonna watch, right? Well, what if Netflix, the money train has to stop someday? What if you make 30 of those and suddenly Netflix doesn't have any money because you're a freaking douche canoe and can't seem to stay on the right side of the people who are supposed to be watching your shit?
People just have this strange perception that you should only speak on something if it directly involves you somehow. Like, you can't voice your opinion on a TV show unless you were in it or you worked on it. Or you liked it. But if you have anything negative to say, just shut your mouth, basically. Yeah. Well, so Star Wars Theory was another one of these YouTubers getting a ton of hate for his take on Amanda Stenberg's statements, talking about all of the racist hatred and vitriol and prejudice. But basically, he titled it Amanda Stenberg Meltdown. And one person posted a screenshot saying, "Leave it to Star Wars Theory to make a topic that utterly has nothing to do with him. In fact, all about him. What Amanda expressed was her own personal opinion and experiences. What an effing punk-ass snowflake." They're calling him the snowflake for talking about her meltdown on social media over losing her job.
Yeah.
He's the snowflake because he's talking about her snowflake behavior.
They're trying to co-opt the term snowflake.
Like, you can't commandeer those words when you embody them.
Yeah.
But apparently it's just none of his business, even though it's on a public platform.
They do. Well, that's the thing.
He doesn't have any business addressing it.
They're ignoring the fact that the nature of how these things are communicated makes it his business, meaning that she posted it on social media, which makes it ripe for public consumption, which makes it his business.
Now, Manny Jacinto seems to be handling the news of the cancellation a little bit more constructively.
Yes, it does.
He says that now it's his main life goal to bring about a second season of The Acolyte. Good luck with that, man. Really.
Look at this clip.
This is awful.
A goal of mine to achieve? Yeah. Something else that you want to make sure you do before you leave this mortal coil?
Straight to jail for saying...
Whoever said that.
Whoever said mortal coil, straight to fucking jail. Let's go back. Sorry.
Something else that you want to make sure you do before you leave this mortal
Headphone
coil?
check.
Season 2 of The Acolyte?
It's like somehow loud, but also like golf clap.
The fact that they like turned the camera around on all of the cringe people in the audience.
Look,
that was friendly fire right there.
Look, he seems to be handling it at least a little bit more constructively. Like you said, he's focusing on what he wants to accomplish, not how it's everybody else's fault.
He's just, forging his path as the next Hollywood sex symbol.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Look, I made a half joke earlier. I said I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it back out of spite for a second season, but I don't think that that's going to happen.
Disney doesn't run on spite.
I mean, some of these companies do. This is a discussion that we have all the time, where we talk about like I was like, how do these things get made if they don't make any money? And people say they don't care about money anymore. All they care about is the message. Well, if that was true, then they would have just done this forever.
It was more about public perception, right? Think about this scenario. What if The Acolyte came out, it got just as poor viewership as it did this time around, but there wasn't a bunch of social media backlash against it. So it wasn't in a negative conversation. There wasn't a negative light being cast on it. Would they have kept it going despite the fact that it was losing money? Would they have kept it going
not at
without
that price,
the negative public perception?
Not at that price tag and not at that big of a drop off after the first 2 episodes.
No?
Not at the $180 million price tag.
I mean, they canceled Willow. I don't think that the Willow TV show was getting a ton of hate. They canceled it because it didn't do well.
And then got rid of it and then pulled it off Disney Plus. And it got way less backlash. It got some, and people did talk about it, but it didn't get the same level of...
It was not nearly as big of a deal. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've done it before.
Yep.
It's difficult to tell, like, what is their MO? Then we almost talked about this last week, but they are hiring a DEI director, making 4 times the national average salary. Like, they're clearly not moving away from that.
Yeah.
Like, they're not moving away from DEI practices.
Nope. I mean, I don't think here's the thing.
There's just so much bureaucratic bloat.
Corporation that size doesn't just turn the ship around.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way.
It's the Suez Canal, basically.
It's the Titanic heading for an iceberg, right? It can't just right itself instantly. It takes time. And I don't think that that's ever going to happen to a company as wide and as diversified as Disney is. Look, they don't even make their money from the movies. That shit's a write-off. They make their money from the parks.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.